I was feeling AI anxiety earlier. I don't know if that's already a term, but I'm sure soon it will be all over the place. Because AI has the potential and is already transforming, or you could say disrupting, pretty much every industry. And earlier I was feeling really scared, not long ago actually. And that prompted me to record this track just to share my feelings, and maybe you can relate, maybe you've got a similar fear within you, and we can find comfort by hearing each other struggle. As silly as that sounds, but just knowing we're not alone and knowing that there are ways to navigate whatever comes can be really supportive, right? So now, part of the reason why it was triggered for me is because I was using a voice cloning tool for some routine work that I had to do, like reading out a long text that I didn't really have the capacity to do. So I was using that and it cloned my voice, and it was pretty amazing. And that triggered me of like, oh, where is this going to go? So if we just give it something completely random, I know Insight Timer is not the biggest fan of putting AI generated content, and this is not AI generated content. As a whole track, it's just a tiny portion showcasing how my voice sounds, but it's not the track. So, okay, let's think of something completely random for Felix's new voice to say, okay? The hippo did a hula hoop dance with a coconut on its nose while it did a somersault backwards, singing Mozart on a flute. Let's see what that sounds like. The hippo did a hula hoop dance with a coconut on its nose while it did a somersault backwards, singing Mozart on a flute. Okay, that was pretty crazy. That sounded more like myself than myself. Damn. Earlier, I was feeling that feeling of AI replaces us. AI is going to replace me. I won't have value to give in the marketplace. So I will have less. And I don't know if I will be able to survive. And other people will have less as well, because there will be less tasks needed, right? Of course, we can philosophize and we can think, okay, there will be new opportunities, and computers were invented, and then people adapted, new industries popped up. But we're working with the fear here right now, right? So humans will have less. And because they have less, they will take from each other more. The fear is because humans and myself will have less, they will take from each other more, and I won't have what I need to survive. So I spend a lot of my day, longer than I'd like to admit, just really feeling that fear, feeling that activation, but it being too overwhelming. So just distracting myself with work tasks, whatever I could still do that hasn't been automated yet. And yeah, it took me a while to really just put on some candles. And even then, I still found tasks to do. I was like, oh, the bins need to go out. I need to check this person's message. I kept putting it off, kept putting it off. And then eventually, I just made sure there were no more distractions, no more things that I could do, because I knew that part of me, that fear needed holding. So then I got out pen and paper and I wrote down, what is the fear? What are the details of the fear? And I listened to all of that. I put a hand on my heart, just holding that. Not from a place of wanting to get rid of that fear, although sometimes that can happen because it might not feel safe to feel that activation, right? Many of us are at a stage where it feels so uncomfortable, so scary, it doesn't feel safe to feel anxious in that way. But and that is a process, right? There's no point to force yourself to feel everything. That's really not sensitive to your journey. But as you sort of expand your capacity by working with people and finding tools to do that yourself, as you expand your capacity to feel within your body, that is something I've been working on for sure. So I was then able to, really sense where in my body I'm feeling that and what it's feeling like. And I could pick up things like my jaw tensing up. I got curious. What else was going on? So my belly was contracting, especially the left side of my belly, which happens to be the case a lot for me. It's always the left side. And just limbs and everything. So sort of fight or flight, maybe even freeze reaction there. Just being really scared. Like, this is so big. This is so scary. I don't know if I will have the resources to survive, right? And then before I knew it, there was a wave of sadness, a weeping that came up, and I just put my hand on my heart again, just felt that weeping, that crying, that hopelessness. I was with that. And as that passed, I felt a lot more hopeful again. And then I got out my notepad again and I dropped down a few things. I asked that part of me if there's something that it needs. And I said, yes, I need money. I need more money. I need more resources to feel more secure. And then I wrote down a few points from my grounded self, supporting it, letting it know why I'll be okay, why I'll be fine. The kind of support that I have right now, the kind of ways I can adapt, the kind of ways I have adapted, how I always find a way, and also how actually none of this is promised, right? The fact that I'm living today is a blessing. The things I have in my life are privileges so many people don't have. And part of the issue might also be just being used to these privileges and being scared that they're not there. And that equating to me not being okay, but that may not be fully true as much as that feeling is valid. And of course, the scary part of it is the uncertain. Our nervous system is not that great when it comes to uncertainty. It likes knowing that it's going to be provided for. And things like, oh, how's my whole work life going to transform? And how will I even be able to generate an income? It's not that great for it, right? So just being kind with ourselves, that's normally, naturally something quite scary. But at the same time, knowing that we have a grounded self, our presence that we can tap into in the present moment, that can guide us and make the choices that we need to make to find a way through. Trusting in the goodness of life that, maybe even if people have less, trusting in my ability to navigate life, trusting in my ability to navigate uncertainty, and trusting in the goodness in people. That yes, even if people do have less, that does not mean everyone's going to try and come and take the little that I have. Trusting in the goodness in people and in life, and in the miracle that is unfolding in this moment, reminding me that every day, everything in my life is a gift and a blessing and never promised. And maybe, who knows what will happen, but maybe this is just another reminder of how blessed we are just to live another moment. So I hope that this reflection doesn't trigger you too much. Maybe you find some comfort in it. And just, trusting, knowing we have each other, knowing that as long as you're authentic, as long as you're real, as long as you're you, no one can really replace who you are, because that is unique. Have a beautiful day or night. Much love. Soak up these soothing vibes.